You ever been on a project that starts out with this brilliant, amazing idea, but somewhere along the way it just descends into chaos? Where designers, engineers, and marketers all seem to be building completely different things? Well, the solution, a lot of the time, is a single document, the Product Requirements Document, or as you'll hear it called, the PRD. Let's dig into how it actually works.
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? You've got an idea, you've done your research, but how do you get everyone, and I mean everyone, designers, engineers, all the stakeholders on the exact same page? The secret is creating one single source of truth.
Now I know the second you hear the word document, your eyes might glaze over. You start thinking about tedious paperwork, but we're going to bust that myth right now. A PRD is so much more than that. It's an active, powerful, strategic tool.
So what is it really? Think of it like a biography for your product, but written before it's even born. It lays out everything from its purpose to its features. But here's the most important part. It's not some static file you write once and then forget about. No, it's a living guide that grows and adapts right along with the project itself.
It is so easy to fall into this trap, right? To see the PRD as just another box you have to check off. But its real power isn't in the paper itself. It's in the clarity and alignment it creates. It's a tool for communication, first and foremost.
This analogy just nails it. The PRD is your product's architectural blueprint. Seriously, without it, you run the risk of your design team building a sleek, modern condo while your engineers are over here working on a rustic log cabin. This document, this blueprint, ensures everyone is building the exact same house.
Okay, so what actually goes into this all-important blueprint? Let's break down the essential pieces that give a PRD its real power, starting with the very foundation of your mission.
These right here are the 3 pillars of your PRD's foundation, and the order is absolutely critical. You have to start by defining the problem you're solving. Only then can you figure out who you're solving it for. And then finally, you can justify why your specific solution is the best way to do it.
Everything, and I mean everything, flows from the problem. A great problem statement is your North Star. And it can't be a guess. It has to be rooted in a real user's pain. Take this example company, Candy Tooth. They didn't just say, people want healthier candy. No, they identified a specific user struggle. That kind of clarity is what turns a fuzzy idea into a solvable problem.
So once you know the problem, you have to get to know the people you're solving it for. Like, really know them. That's where user personas come in. And these are not just imaginary friends you made up. They are detailed, specific profiles based on actual research. They're a critical gut check that stops you from building a product for yourself and keeps the focus right where it should be, on the user.
Okay, you've got a problem and an audience. Awesome. But how will you know if you're actually winning? How do you measure success? Well, that's where measurement comes in, and it's usually defined by 2 key acronyms, OKRs and KPIs. People get these two mixed up all the time, but the difference is actually pretty simple and super important. Think of it this way. OKRs are your big, ambitious goals for a specific period of time, your destination. KPIs, on the other hand, are like the dashboard on your car. They're the vital signs you're constantly monitoring, like speed and fuel, to make sure your product is healthy and on track.
Let's look at the Candy Tooth example again. The objective is the what? They want to increase visibility. Simple enough. The key result is the how, a 25% mention in feedback. See how specific and measurable that is? There's no wiggle room. You either hit that number or you don't. That's the power of it.
And hey, this framework isn't just some new corporate fad. It has a legendary track record. Get this, it was the OKR system that gave Intel the intense laser focus it needed to pivot from making memory chips to completely dominating the microprocessor market. Yeah, that's the kind of game-changing alignment we're talking about here. So we've covered the mission and the metrics. Now let's get to the really fun part, visualizing the product and translating all that strategy into something tangible, something people can actually see and react to. This is where we turn those user needs into actual features, using a simple but incredibly powerful format called a user story. It always follows this structure. As a type of user, I want to do something so that I get this benefit. This little sentence is amazing because it connects every single piece of work directly back to a real human need, constantly reminding the team why they're building what they're building. User stories then lead to prototypes, which are basically just early mock-ups of your product. And let me tell you, Prototyping is like a secret weapon for efficiency. It lets you test ideas, get feedback from stakeholders, and spot any technical roadblocks before a single expensive line of code is ever written. It saves so much time and so many headaches. All right, with a clear vision of the product in hand, the final piece of our PRD puzzle is all about execution. This section is where you map out the actual journey from where you are now all the way to a successful launch. A good timeline isn't just a single date way off in the future. It's broken down into smaller, manageable chunks called milestones. These are major checkpoints along the way that create momentum and give the team a chance to celebrate small wins. For Candy Tooth, you can see each milestone is a concrete step, creating a clear path from start to finish.
And here's a really crucial point to remember. Launch day is not the finish line. Not at all. In fact, it's the starting line for the next phase. Once your product is out in the wild, you begin this continuous cycle. You build, you measure its impact, you learn from how people are using it, and then you use all that new knowledge to build the next improvement.
Whew! We have covered a lot of ground, from the big picture problem statement all the way down to the nitty-gritty launch plan. So let's bring it all together and really hammer home why this document is so essential.
When it comes right down to it, a PRD is your engine for clarity and alignment. It's that single source of truth that gets everyone on the same page. It justifies your decisions. But most importantly, it's the insurance policy that makes sure the product you end up building is the product your users actually need and want.
So please, don't think of a PRD as just some boring document you have to write. Think of it as the strategic process that defines your product's success before you even begin. So the real question is, are you ready to build your blueprint?